So the Vigilante Deku arc of My Hero Academia has officially started on Season 6, and this has been a very interesting arc for sure. And it's just beginning with this Deku going on his own against these villains that are taking over all of Tokyo. So as the episode first begins, we have Deku standing on top of the rooftop, looking over, seeing what villains there are, and his danger sense quirk goes off. One of the newer quirks that he has been established to have in these series so far. And he has to rescue two of his, class heroes. I remember them from one of the other seasons, I just can't remember their name. So Muscular comes along, and Deku essentially has to fight Muscular again in a rematch, and this is a very, very interesting fight. Number one, the animation quality actually looks really good considering the rest of the season. And on top of that, this is not the same Deku that they fought before. This Deku has several quirks now, and he is able to use one for all 45% without any damage to his overall body. So this is a much different fight than Muscular has to deal with. He's much quicker, he's much faster, he's much more agile, and he has way more abilities than before. And on top of that, he rescues one of the heroes, and he has a newer quirk, which is his smokescreen quirk, which is one of the previous user's quirks, and he's using it in this episode overall, which creates this really ominous look to Deku. He kind of looks more like a villain in this part of the show, which I get is what they're going for, I'm assuming, and I'm pretty sure this is going to go somewhere as someone who hasn't read the manga. But all in all, I will say too, he does kind of look really, really rad as well. I can't really complain. He went from a very weird looking costume to a really creepy looking one, and he looks way better. Deku is essentially a beast at this point. So essentially he uses his new smokescreen quirk along with his black whip quirk and float to essentially take down Muscular. He used it to restrain him at one point in the fight, and that is a very dope moment that happened. And also, he used it as a way to kind of cover himself as he's trying to save all the other heroes and people in the area. But the part that had me gasp was when he used his one-for-all punch against Muscular. At 45% against Muscular's weakened muscles, he's able to take him down in one shot, and the animation quality in this part was actually really well done, as you see the flapping of the mask. And essentially a point that I want to point out is just the highlighted details that they have with the force of the punch. There is so much impact in this punch that it's crazy. I think at one point you see a highlighted fist in the middle of the punch, and it looks amazing. It reminds me of Deku versus Overhaul, and that was awesome. The ripple effects of the water, the flapping of the cloak, the damaged Muscular, such a great animated moment, and is one of the standouts of the season for sure. After this fight is over, they essentially show why Izuku is on his own, and basically he had a conversation with the doctors that he has damage to his body, and he also had All Might tell his mom that he has inherited one for all. She now knows, but he essentially makes the decision on top of that to get stronger, to go after Shigaraki, but at the same time to leave UA High School so he can continue to keep this classmates and friends safe from his power, because All for One is coming for him and he needs to keep them safe. And essentially he is just going to be Vigilante Deku. He's not a registered hero, and I cannot wait to see what they do with this arc. He's teamed up with Hawks, and he's teamed up with Endeavor, and overall this was a very solid episode. Not a lot going on in this episode, but enough to give context to why he's Vigilante Deku now, and there's so much potential going on with this arc, so many ideas that can potentially happen, and yes, this may end up being one of the better arcs in My Hero Academia, but that remains to be seen as this arc is just getting started. But all in all, a very strong start to this season. And I will say that this is probably going to be a very interesting arc. Great episode. Cannot wait to review the next one. Peace.